And we're live. We're live, Tamara.
Hi, yeah. Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Conscious Goddess Hour. And it's Thursday, September 8th, 2016. And this is the very first time I actually have a guest with me in my home to record live. And her name is Juliette Woods, and I'm going to chat with her about shamanism in just a moment. First of all, I want to thank all of you for taking the time to be here live or listen to the replay. We so appreciate your time. And a big shout out and thank you to Rachel from New Earth Broadcasting. I am so honored to support her vision for women sharing their voices around the world. So if you want to check out what she has going on, you can go to New Earth Broadcasting, and you can follow her on Facebook, and you can follow us on Facebook at The Conscious Goddess and theconsciousgoddess.com as well. So today we are talking about cultivating a shamanic lifestyle, and Juliette has such an amazing story that I'm going to let her share that with you instead of just, reading a bio. And so first of all, let me ask you, before you got into shamanism and all that good stuff, what was your life like? Like, what started happening to you that gave you an indication that you were, this was going to be your path?
Well, I was just carrying on with regular life like people do. And, I had a lot of experiences that I didn't really have a great context for. I didn't really know, why these things were happening or what to do with them. I just sort of kept storing them. And then I kind of stumbled across it almost by accident. I was actually designing a website and for a shamanic practitioner. And as I was going along doing my thing, these experiences popped up into my mind, and I thought, I wonder if she could tell me what this means. Like, why is this happening? And sure enough, she could. And I felt like it was sort of at that point like a one-sided conversation. I was like, well, I have questions. I have things I need to know more about. So that just kicked off this particular path. Yeah.
Awesome. So before that, did you get any indications like growing up, or I know you shared a little bit of it in your bio. Mm-hmm. What started giving you, now that you're older, you probably recognize that, I know for me, it was the same way, like, mm-hmm. Oh, hey, I had these kind of weird things happen to me. So what were those experiences?
Yeah. Well, the very first one, I was quite small. I think, maybe like four or five, and I had a vision, and it was so real. Like, it was I was convinced it was real, and yet it was actually kind of impossible, and it was I was just playing outside in the backyard, and there was an enormous spider on top of the grass, and it just looked at me.
Like that big?
No, like enormous. Like it was larger than life, like giant.
Really?
And I was just frozen.
Oh my God.
And we just stared at each other, and it moved its leg a little bit, but I was quite petrified. And then I finally broke the gaze and ran into the house. I was like, Mom. And she's like, oh, you must have been dreaming. And so I was like, well, wasn't. I was outside, and that was the very first, sort of experience, and that was unexplainable, and
yeah,
there's been a lot of experiences, whether with spirits or, we lived with a friendly spirit that, if my mother couldn't open a jar, for instance, she'd be struggling with it and leave it on the counter, and the next day it would be off. So,
ooh.
Just those things were kind of, in my awareness all growing up.
And was your mom open to those ideas, obviously?
Yeah, she
cool.
was. Yeah. But, it wasn't really a big part of our relationship either. So it's sort of something that she did, and, I sort of observed and, had my own experiences sort of on a quieter level. Yeah.
And so so you make websites for people, and you also, I know you worked in some kind of brain business.
Yeah, brain state. Yeah, it's a neurotechnology software that is what it does is it measures people's electrical brainwaves in real time and converts it into sound. So it gives your brain an avenue to sort of see itself and bring itself into balance.
Wow.
So
I've heard really cool things about that, actually.
It is pretty cool. Actually, I've seen some really great things happen for people, and I experienced it as well myself. So yeah.
Awesome. And I think it's always kind of cool to know where people came from and like what's their background. So you were already fascinated with the human condition, and clearly you had some things happen to you that woke you up to realizing that you could maybe see beyond the, what was right in front of you. And so now you're on the shamanic path, obviously, and we're going to talk about your shaman immersion lifestyle program that you have coming up in just a little bit. But, I remember when I first started hearing about shamanism, it really scared me. It sounded a little crazy. Yeah. And, now I'm going to be joining you in this. And so I've been, kind of doing a little bits and pieces for a long time and exploring a little bit of it through my own lineage. And again, before we talk about your program, let me see here. How do we, I know you want to talk about the call for deeper meaning in day-to-day living. So I'll explain a little bit about that. Basically, I want to let everyone know that she's going to be talking about the call for deeper meaning in the day-to-day living, the desire to establish greater connection to the natural world, and her program for deeper immersion into the practice. So tell us a little bit about, what's this call? How do we know we're being called?
Well, I think there's quite a lot of us are feeling dissatisfied or a little disenchanted with, just mainstream sort of living, like, living to work and pay bills and, and then you're recovering from, your hard day and you're, sort of shutting off and, turning to television and these kinds of things. And, there's a bit of a piece that's missing, I find for a lot of folks. And, you can really see this too in some of the products that are being offered. So like you can buy gadgets that you hook up to your computer and under your desk, and they're supposed to, give you some grounding, and it's actually like I think it's like a copper wire that runs down into the earth, you know what I mean? So it's like how interesting that, we're coming up with these gadgets to sort of fill this void when, instead we could just go outside and, take
get it for real.
Off, so I really, I also see like, terminology is coming up to like nature deficit syndrome or sensitivities to EMF and chemical sensitivities and things like that. And, it's really becoming a little bit more of a mainstream thought, this trend towards tiny home living and moving off grid. And, there's, especially here in Squamish, there's quite a big movement for that, right? So you can really see that, people are more and more striving for something a little bit deeper, beyond the the surface sort of like day to day, just eat, sleep and work and,
and you can see it in people. I mean, they're just like starving for that connection. And if you're just tuning in now, I am here with Juliette Woods. We are up in Squamish, British Columbia, Canada. And we broadcast the Conscious Goddess Hour every Thursday at 11 a.m. Pacific Time, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. But we also put up all of our replays on theconsciousgoddess.com and through New Earth Broadcasting. If you're watching live right now, you're watching through New Earth Broadcasting. And again, my beautiful producer, Rachel, is here with us as well. And we're talking about how to cultivate a shamanic lifestyle. So we were just talking about the call. So like, is it like we're feeling this as a society? We're we're definitely, people are noticing it. I mean, I noticed it. I'm like, oh my God, I didn't even get outside today. Like, what?
Yeah.
You know, like that's crazy. And I feel like I live in a perpetual campground. Like I have no excuses, right? So I will meditate, and I will go, like, even if I just go outside for 5 minutes, you know. And the other day, my beloved Tony and I went for a bike ride, and I said to him, I said, I really got to pull over. And I literally had to go and hug a tree because I'm in front of the computer and my phone all the time. And I left them at home, and I was like, this isn't healthy for me to be around this stuff all the time. Yeah. And so I literally just held onto these 2 trees and was like, it was 2 trees together that went into one root. And I said, Tony, these are our trees. And I held onto the tree, and I was like, just cleanse me. Yeah. You know, and allow it to be removed. And, you know, and how do we, that looks crazy to other people, right? I'm like, it's really, doesn't matter because I feel really good doing this. But I probably wouldn't have done anything like that had not someone guided me to do that or talked to me about doing that. Or I went on a walk with my friend, Pat Robinson. We used to go quite often, and we would go really slow on these walks and be really connected with nature. And I was like, wow, what a blessing to have a friend like that would want to do that. But this call, what is it? What does it sound like, or what does it look like?
Oh, well, I imagine it'd be a little different for everybody, but just, just like you're saying, it's like, oh, there's just something, there's some sort of the energy to it, or something in the back of the mind that's just like, oh, I'm uncomfortable in some way, or, even just looking at life, like your life events, like, why am I always, in these dysfunctional relationships, or why am I, always struggling with money, or why, these chronic sort of situations. It's like, so it kind of sets up the search for like, what can we do differently.
Okay, so it's kind of like a search or a yearning, and then of course we're talking about making a fairly big commitment to a program. So I know for me, the calling, I remember when I was living in Golden still, and that was about almost 7 years, which is in the heart of the Rocky Mountains. And I remember laying there, and I remember hearing what would sound like my grandmother's. Now, both of my grandmothers passed on when I was 8 or 9. But it felt like a whole bunch of grandmothers, like all of my grandmothers from all the way back. And they were like, go to the ocean. And I was like, what's going on? Am I making this up? I'm getting a lot of goosebumps right now. So that's usually always an indication. Here too. And and that's what I describe the calling as, is like, and I'm very auditory, so I actually hear the call. It's like, it's your time. Do this. This is the path. Go there. Trust this person. This is your mentor. This is your teacher. Go there. And so that's the call for me. Some people, it might be like, well, and I've had this too, it might be a slap across the face, right? Where it's like, oh, wow, I just lost everything. For me, I went through a divorce. I lost my friends. I still have some of them, but I felt like I gave up everything, my jobs, my business, my marriage, and my friendships. And I literally, it felt like a big slap, it was like, wake up. And I had a moment where I thought that maybe, I was going to end my life. And I was like, no, I want to be here. Now, whenever I have that feeling, I'm like, okay, mama, I want to be here for you. Like, I want to serve you. Show me what it is I'm supposed to do. And that might sound totally crazy to somebody, but
I think it's a lot more common than most of us realize is, we are having these experiences, like you say, like, am I making this up? Did I really just hear that? Did I really just, see that, But yet, our culture here at this time really doesn't support a lot of that, doesn't give a lot of recognition to that. So we file it away and we just continue on our automated lives, and, but meanwhile it's percolating, or like you say, it's just right in your face and there's nothing you can do about it, near death experiences or what have you, something's like just kicks you in the butt. And
it sort of seems that way. Hey, like a lot of people that I follow and that I read about, or that I want to be, a part of whatever they're doing, they always have a crazy story about that, right? It's like the initiation or something. Awesome. Okay, well, let's talk about this desire to establish a greater connection to the natural world. Like obviously we were just touching on that a little bit, but is there anything else you would like to say about that?
Yeah. I mean, and I think, your story is a perfect example of, just a few minutes, can be such a healing balm. And then once you experience that, it's like, oh, wait a minute, you have this whole supportive environment to really step into. And there's so much wisdom and so much guidance that can be taken just from looking at nature, or being, in a natural environment, whether it's at the beach or in the forest, and this kind of thing, like our physical connection to the earth. Science is showing that, the frequency that earth vibrates at is a healing frequency. And again, like looking back at some of these gadgets that are being introduced, I mean, you can go and pay money to lay on a magnetic bed that vibrates at the same frequency as the earth.
Yeah.
So, sometimes we can see where we're already trying to implement these things. Yes. And yet there's a natural way to do it.
In fact, one of the first companies I was ever with when I was like 25 was called Niken, and it was magnets. And you can get a magnet bed. And actually, I've heard really good things about that.
Yeah.
If you can't sleep on the, ground every night, which that's what I yearn for. I'm like, let's go camping. And I'm like, why do I live camping? I live in a campground, but it's because I want to go sleep closer to the earth.
And that's actually in the program too. There's a part where it's like, you have to make the effort to sleep outside, even if it's just a nap on the beach for 5 minutes or something. So,
awesome.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. So typically, and so let's move into what is, a shamanic practice, or what is a shamanic lifestyle? Another thing that popped into my head too, and then I want to make sure that I acknowledge it, because when I hear it, I feel like it's meant for somebody that's listening. Is shamanism a religion? Is it, because I'm sure you probably get that question a lot.
Yeah. No, I would say it's not a religion. I mean, maybe there's different interpretations, that people might have. To me, religion sort of seems like an organized set of, hierarchy or rules or what have you. And shamanism really has this. I
want to get more faces.
It's really quite much more.
I'm just gonna put my lips
in. It's more personal than that, and it looks differently for each person as well. They connect a little differently. Maybe like you say, more auditory, more visual, this kind of thing.
Yeah.
There's a lot. I would say it's more a belief system or a way of connecting. There are commonalities around the world. They refer to it as core shamanism. So they have found that all around the world. Core, yes.
Core.
Yeah.
Okay.
Core.
Yeah. Got it.
Where there are certain aspects, like the idea of the three worlds, journey, entering a trance state, these kinds of things. So there is some really common elements, but beyond that, it's really quite open, to be influenced by either culture or where you're living, or just your personal way of connecting. So there's also a lot of similarity in certain aspects to some of these nature-based belief systems, like paganism or animism, this kind of thing. So there's some overlapping there, but with shamanism, really the defining parts, and that's often quite argued as well. But, I'm
sure it's evolving too with our times and things like that.
Yeah, and and there's because it's a global, ancient way, there is obviously lots of different ideologies around it, but mostly it's stepping into the spirit realm at will and bringing balance into between the spirit realm and this physical realm, either by bringing something in, so like you're needing the energy and the grounding of those trees, so that you're bringing in that energy, or removing that which doesn't fit or doesn't belong. So, that's, and you're working, with, a team, right? So you've got guides that are directing you and guiding you, in this healing method.
Right. So if somebody, because I did have somebody ask me the other day, they were like, I'm from a Christian background, and some of this makes me nervous. Can it be, can anybody do shamanism?
Yeah. And actually I actually find that really quite fascinating is, there I do know shamanists who are Catholic and Christian, and unfortunately, I think with those religions often comes a lot of fear. There's a lot of fear of doing something wrong, but once that can sort of be relieved, shamanism fits in really quite well. You want to go and journey to Jesus Christ and have some really direct experiences. Go on a journey. With shamanism, right? They can really support each other, but I think there is nervousness around that has been generated by humans.
Yes. We tend to do that sometimes. Okay, well, and also what I thought, and another, a friend of mine years ago, she said, I'm studying shamanism, and sometimes I feel bad because I'm not native. And I was like, what? Is it just exclusive to, First Nations, North American Indians?
No. That, and that's another like really, really fascinating, at least to me, part is that it is a global practice, and it is as old as the hills, literally. And this is part of
what?
Yeah, I just saw it.
I got something in there. Yeah. Something came through me.
Yeah. And that's really the focus of our year together too, is really connecting with each person's cultural roots and really drawing on that wisdom and looking at, what were the practices, sort of in our physical DNA, what is coming down the line, how can we bring that in and draw on that as a strength? And, I kind of look at it as different flavors of the same pie. You know what I mean? So it's like you got your blueberry pie over in Scotland, and you got your raspberry pie over in whatever West Coast Canada. You've got your, I don't know.
Yeah, so your lineage is mostly Celtic, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, anyone watching would probably gather that makes perfect sense.
You think so?
But if you're listening to the audio, excuse me. So that's what got me really excited, I think, about your program. And I'd like to touch on that now. Let's talk a little bit. First of all, again, if anybody's tuning in just now and you're watching live, hi, welcome to the broadcast. This is the Conscious Goddess Hour with Tamara Broughton, and I'm interviewing Juliette Woods. I just put the screen on, and she doesn't like that so much. She's like, oh, there I am. She's like, she didn't know actually today was going to be televised. And we're talking about how to cultivate a shamanistic practice or shaman, what did we call it? Cultivating?
Lifestyle.
Yeah, lifestyle. Yeah. So, and really, what is shamanism, right? Mm-hmm. Like some people just might, and again, it looks crazy to some people, but I mean, I was not raised on religion. So religion looked crazy. I mean, I was like, oh, shamanism is just another religion. Oh, Buddhism, I was always like, that was how I was raised. I basically used to say, what I can see in front of me is what I believe in. And then I had a big wake-up call in around the year 2000, and I realized, oh my goodness, and there's so many similarities between all religions, and sort of feels like it's all going in the same direction. Like you said, it's slices of the same pie. I'm really drawn to shamanism because I'm on this planet, and I'm here to serve her. And I want to create a better relationship with nature. And that's, I'm a holistic nutritionist for 20 years. I mean, it makes perfect sense as to why, I would choose that. So this is just a deeper, that word is just, I don't know what, see, there it is again. It's a deeper connection for me in why I love that and why I love herbology. And I've been juicing grapes and what else did I do? I made like apple crisp, and I've been doing all these things now, and I'm talking with my mom about how my grandmother, used to can a lot and all of those things. So I know that in the program I was looking through. So I'm going to show everybody the your website. Maybe where is it? Anyways, I might have closed it. There it is. All right, so I want to show everybody what her website looks like and what we're going to be talking about next. I'm going to share my screen, but if you're listening, you won't see this, obviously, so we'll do our best to
They could go to it later.
Yeah, and it's shamanicliving.com, .ca, sorry, .canada, SHAMANICLIVING, Shamanic Living. And actually, she's going to be offering it online too. So anyone around the world, obviously, that isn't on opposite time zone.
No, they can be.
Oh, okay, they can?
Yeah.
So if they're in Australia, they can, it's just all recorded and...
Yeah, everything we're doing together, I'm going to be audio recording. I might video record. I don't know.
Well, you got to learn about this program, Zoom. It's amazing. And you'll love it.
You're not the only one to tell me this. You're not the only one to tell me this.
It's brilliant. It's brilliant. I switched over. I honestly, I used to pay a lot of money for other programs. This one's really great. So anyone else that's wanting to do, online stuff, zoom.us is what it is. So we're showing you the website here. And so tell us a little bit about, when did you start doing this program? How many, how many times have you done it? What has been, tell us a little bit about like what you do in is it 9 months or a year?
It's a year.
It's a full year. Yeah. I kept thinking it was 9 months and I counted all the months the other day and I was like, this is a whole year.
Are you ready for that?
No, yes. I am. I'm not, but it doesn't matter because I know this is what I want to do and I've been wanting to do this for years. So it was really just, and for me, it was who is my teacher, right? And my friend and who's willing. And I love your energy. So I'm a hyper person. So it's really, you're quiet and grounding. And I'm like, oh, I always feel good when I'm around you. Like you look at me sometimes like, whoa. And I'm like, I need to calm down and take a breath. So yeah, tell us a little bit about what it is.
Well, I'll just start even with the idea that it is a year.
Yes.
And we're doing that because, as we're meeting each month and, there's solo work to be done each month. And it's all really directly tied to what we're experiencing in the natural world at that time. So through the seasons, we're getting a real feel for the natural energies that are present, an example that I use is Christmas time. Right?
Yeah.
So, the nights are long, it's cold, nature has really, all the energy of the plants has gone down into the earth, it's sort of like sleeping, the snow comes and quiets everything. But we're, racing around malls, shopping, like crazy. We're hosting families and having all sorts of stress. We're, maybe traveling. So this is a time where a lot of people feel really incongruent. They're like, oh, I'm quite uncomfortable, stressed out. And, part of that is because we're not really living in alignment with the natural energies present. So, when nature is telling us to slow down and turn inward and get all dreamy, and it's, they refer to it as the more feminine time of the year. It's more intuitive and self-reflecting and this kind of thing. Instead, we're pushing ourselves to, run at a really fast pace and really do a lot. You think about that time leading up to Christmas and then into New Year's, and by the time we're done, it's spent. People are getting sick.
Yeah, a lot of sickness.
Yeah, yeah. So like by going through the whole year together, we're really able to really experience, the medicine wheel of the seasons, right? And really being able to draw upon that at any point because you've consciously lived through it. And and ideally, that's something that will stay with you, as you're, moving through the rest of your years. You're able to go, oh, am I harvesting right now? Am I looking back and collecting, all of my efforts, when it's this time of year, right? The end of August, beginning of September, it's all this harvesting what you've been sowing and planting ever since, those dark, dreamy times of last winter.
Yeah.
Right? So really working with how to bring those natural energies into your life, in a really conscious way.
Awesome. So you mentioned the medicine wheel. I know we're going to be talking about that in the immersion program. Tell us a little bit about that. I'd like to know a little bit more. I forgot to mention this. Juliette actually did one of our opening ceremonies at the Conscious Goddess Festival. And I didn't even get to hang out with you. I think I was there for like 2 minutes, got a picture, and then I was like, I had to go.
I know.
And there was someone doing medicine wheel, and there was the room rites. And honestly, now I'm like, I really wanted to be in those workshops, but I really wasn't in a headspace to be able to do that. And
so you're going to make that happen next time.
I am going to make that happen, but also I can be up, those were the ones that spoke a lot to me for where I am on my journey. Tell us a little bit about the medicine wheel. What is it?
Well, again, it's one of those things that, people might have different ways of explaining it. But for me, it acts as a compass that we can orient by, and, an easy one to look at would be, the wheel of the year. So with the seasons, right, just with the energies that I was talking about, you can really see, okay, where are we right now? What's coming next? What have we just experienced? And you can sort of prepare, you can align yourself, with whatever is present or coming. You can look at it with menstrual cycles. You can look at it with the moon cycles, you know what I mean? And when we are working with the medicine wheels, we're going to be, each culture has their own medicine wheels, their own medicines that are on the wheel. And even within cultures, there's separate ones. So what we're looking at is really tailoring, a medicine wheel for each person. So really, whether it's drawing on, so like drawing on your cultural heritage, what are the deities that would represent, say, winter, that's what's coming, right? What are some of these winter goddesses or crones or the destroyer type, or dreaming type archetypes, and really finding what you're resonating with and putting that into your wheel. And so as you're experiencing winter and you're drawing upon these different energies and these different guides and supports, you're able to fill that in for you. So your medicine wheel is going to look different than mine.
Oh, I love that. Oh, I'm like, I'm going to, it's already going. So, so you can find it at shamanicliving.ca. And then I want to chat a little bit more about, can I click on the overview and commitment, kind of what it looks like? Or where would you like to go next?
The syllabus has sort of the...
what does syllabus mean? It's just like a cool word.
I could, like, curriculum.
Curriculum, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, this is so great. I looked at your pictures the other day too, and I was like, oh my goodness. Yes. Already, I can't even tell you. Like, I can tell you right here, right now. I'm everything that I do, I'm present. And this is something that I've always promoted as a holistic practitioner. Sit with your food, be with your food, say thank you. I do all those things.
Yeah.
Then even, like you said, a lot of the work starts to happen before. Now I'm like, even when I'm cleaning and doing my dishes or doing anything in my house, I'm like, it's like all a ceremony.
Exactly.
It's amazing. Yeah. Everything that I'm doing, instead of just rushing through it, like rushing through dinner or get it done, I'm like present and I'm there. My work, even, I'm working from a place of love. And when I'm not feeling that, I'm not pushing things. Like it's all just shifted so big in the last, even just the last month.
It's perfect.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Because that's what you're wanting, right? That's what I'm, really, really hoping for people, is that they're finding these ways that it just naturally becomes part of life, So even like the apples that you were harvesting, because of your shamanic experience with this tree and what it does for your land here, there's an extra sort of layer that, it's just sort of there as you're simply making apple crisp, but there's some other medicines that are working, and it just sort of seamlessly flows in.
This morning first I did yoga, and then I did a little workout, and then I did a dance because I'm really fascinated in studying 5 rhythms dance and conscious dance, or whatever you want to call it. I particularly like the 5 rhythms because I'm reading a lot of the founders' books and stuff like that. So I came over here and I started like playing on my table, and all of a sudden I just started dancing with my house, and I was like, if it wasn't for Juliette, Juliette came over, and what did you do that day that you came over?
Well, it was like land tending and a house clearing.
House clearing and a land tending. Yeah. And I was like, something needs to shift here because we just moved in and there was a lot of chaos and I was feeling some stuff. And now I'm like, I'm going around with my little chimes and I'm giving love to the house and I'm dancing with it. And I'm like, what is going on here? But I'm going with it. Yeah. And it feels really good to, like, every day I look around this space and I love it and I want to show it.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I was like playing the drums on the counter this morning. And even when I'm cleaning and doing stuff, I'm dancing and it's a celebration of everything that we have. It's amazing.
And it really does, bringing in that zest, right, for life. That's really such an important piece. We're really inundated with a lot of negative news. We're taking on the traumas of the world now instead of just the traumas of our tribe, so really actively cultivating some of this juicy, rich, soul-filling ways of living is huge. It's huge. Yeah.
Well, tell us a little bit about the program itself. I mean, I have it up here. You have, had I read this closer, I would have saw that it was 12 months.
Yeah, that's interesting. 12 months.
12 months. I don't know why. It's interesting what we see and what we don't see, right? Yeah. So the guided solo work, I really like that. And I remember you asking me in the interview for this. And I love that too. And I know you did an info night on it and you just really put so much care into this and you're willing to grow and open to other ideas too, which I really like about you. You were like, do you want me to like kick your butt, or you kind of just in here to like, just kind of have like a light experience, or do you want me to kind of, nudge you? And I was like, yes, nudge me in a gentle way. Yeah. And I can't even imagine you being mean or anything.
There's a few people that need they've asked for the serious butt kicking.
Yeah.
So I'm like, all right.
Yeah. Like, and I do that as a coach too. I'm like, what do you need me to do? Yeah. And I'll do it. But if I do it, I don't want any sass, this is our agreement and I'm willing to go there and follow up with you in that way.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the solo work, I know that's not as easy as being in the group and doing it. Because when I'm in a place, I'm like, I'm there, I'm committed. But outside, it's like, how do you promote that, or how do you?
So on the first of every month, we're going to get links to it's a Google folder. Yeah. With documents and whatever in there. And, what I'm suggesting to people is, they kind of scan it over, look it over once, maybe print it out, for if you're like me, that likes to not look at a screen.
Yes.
And, take your time with it, have some tea, it'll be presenting, some different wisdoms, hopefully wisdom, different ways, methods. And then, so giving some information and then giving some ways to bring that into your life. And then also there's some submissions that need to be done at the end of the month. So, you say like, I think we begin, working with our ancestors, and we begin with some altar work. And, it's really meant to meet everybody, whether they're brand new or seasoned, and really encouraging people to spend time with each piece and finding ways to really like make it fit into their life, and bringing whatever their personal interest in. So, we got some folks who are keen on herbs, some that are keen on crystals, this kind of thing. So then you'd be, building your altar with, those things in mind, and working with it, and then submitting, the submission at the end. So, it might be a photograph, it might be a little journal piece, like this kind of thing. And then all of those submissions are saved. And, at the completion ceremony at the end, it's given back. And so you're able to sort of track, okay, this was my journey through the year. This is the different things that happen. You're able to really tailor each piece to really resonate with you or not, like, oh yeah, actually I found that over the year I let the altar piece go and I'm, doing something different instead.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Oh, I like that.
So then because that part is done, on your own, we also have this private Facebook group where we're able to share those experiences. And, this is where the butt kicking comes in. So it's like, how much support, is everybody needing to actually do it and give it a good go and really find, okay, this is how I want it to work for me, or maybe this isn't working at all, or maybe this is great and I really want to bring that in more. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, I just joined this mastermind with another woman who presented at the festival the first year, Karen Klassen, and I'm loving this mastermind. And she's like, yeah, I'm going to set you up with an accountability sister. And I'm like, oh yes, this is so what I need. And we're all we had our first meeting yesterday, and it was these are women who are definitely all into the same things as me. So it's awesome to be around that group too and have that accountability. And when I see other people doing it too, it's like, okay, they did it. And then I know that I can inspire others too. And I love meeting new people. And I definitely love that there's more of this happening on the planet, where we can come together. And especially, I don't have a huge family, and I didn't do a lot of gatherings. And so I'm yearning for that connection.
Yeah.
So, journey circles. What's a journey circle?
So once a month we get together, and journeying is one of those universal practices in shamanism, and there's different methods of doing it. It's basically sort of entering an altered state of consciousness. For some people, they're using plant medicines, this kind of thing. We're using percussive beat just to sort of support. It actually brings our brain into a more meditative state, hearing this beat. And so we gather, we smudge, we make some offerings to the land, we check in on what the energies are present each month, Mercury retrograde, these kinds of things. Is it a full moon?
Are we still online? Oh, yes, we are.
Oh, yeah, we're just chatting away.
Yeah. No, I said I was making a joke about retrograde. I'm surprised if we're still online, we're doing good.
Yeah, right? It's been a doozy for sure this time. And then we do 3 journeys that are based off of, what's happening, energetically what's happening, as well as supporting, our personal lives. So whether it's healing work or it's, guidance, some kind of insights or wisdoms, this kind of thing. So these 3 journeys, they're all supportive in those ways. Sometimes they're community healing, that kind of thing. And then we'll close the circle.
Yeah, so I've been to a few of yours, right? I've been, been to a few journey circles, and I remember feeling like, I think it was our friend Marie. I said, anyone doing this? And she said, yeah, actually, we meet all the time. You've got to meet Juliette. And then my friend Adriana, she said, same thing. And she said, I can't believe you haven't met her yet. You've got to meet. And then I think we met at a sacred item swap. And that's where I first met you.
No, I met you before that.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah, I met you at MJ's. It was MJ and Dean had a music healing. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
But we just chatted. It was like after the end, we were like,
I love it.
Our yoga mats were beside each other.
Oh, see? It's so perfect.
This was I didn't really know who you were. It was later that I was like, I actually.
Oh, well, I hid out for a lot of years, and I always wanted to go to one of those. And I, whenever they're playing again, let me know, because MJ and what's their company called?
Sacred Fire.
Sacred Fire.
Oh, they're amazing.
They are amazing. Absolutely. And I'll have to get her on the show, or both of them. Okay. Well, how perfect is that? I mean, I didn't even remember, but
there you go.
and then your name kept coming up, and then the next thing I know, I was sitting at one of your circles, and
the fire ceremony.
Yeah, fire ceremony. Yeah. And then I remember you wanted to write a blog for the festival's website, and then I was like, can you do an opening ceremony? You're like, well, I don't know, maybe. Sure. But no, you weren't like ready to jump into it, because you were like, what is this thing? What is going on? And that's what I really love about you, is that I'm one of those people that tends to jump all in and not really look at things. And I'm learning now to, muscle test it, feel into it a little bit. Is this where I'm, supposed to be going? Because I'm one of those people that like, oh my God, I'll go. Yeah, let's do it. Yeah. And then, and that's a good thing, because I would have never done the festival had I known what it was gonna be like. No, it's not easy. So so that's what I love about you, is you practice a lot of discernment, and you ask questions, and because I'm very trusting, and then sometimes it backfires a little bit. Not to say that you're not trusting, but I don't know, like that I can learn from.
It's hard lessons for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
It took me a while to get there.
I'm getting better at that. Okay, so what else do you have going on? We've got a few minutes left here. I know you do some private stuff with people. Tell us a little bit about that. I mean, I like that too. I mean, we're making an investment here, and you know, it's like sometimes you're like, oh, am I just going to go to these things and just be talked at or whatever? And I love this because it's very, we all get to participate.
Oh, yeah.
It's very, and like you said, doing the solo work, and there's, you know, it's not just this place where we come and hang out. It's that we're going there to do the work.
It's definitely experiential, and you know, it's definitely, you know, we did run a smaller, less full version of this a couple years ago, and even that, you know, I have heard, you know, just how life-changing that this kind of practice really is. You know, and that's what it's meant for. It's not really meant for just, you know, heady stuff. It's really to experience it and know things on a really deeper level. So yeah, so there is 3 one-on-one healing sessions.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah, which, you know, it's
that's pretty full on.
I mean, they're not all at once.
No, you know? I know. But for you, like, that's a major commitment. Again, like there's not many programs like this where I see that much offering, you know? And so that got me really excited too, again, because I'm looking at, like, you know, this is an investment for the next year. Like what, and so you offering that, and, you know, obviously you have a lot of experience, your own personal journey, and to share your tools and wisdom. So, I mean, could you give us like kind of is it every healing session different, or is it individual, or is it something that you do quite regularly?
It's what I, you know, do for clients that come, you know, and see me. So, you know, traditional shamanic healing, you know, extraction, soul retrievals, crystal unraveling, these kinds of things. You know, and I throw some energy work in there as well, because that's another, you know, background that I have is working with energy. And really the idea is, I mean, this all started when it was really coming to me that the greatest thing that I could sort of offer to be of service, you know, to the planet and to our human tribe, was really supporting a healthy connection with nature, you know, and really looking at bringing our personal selves into balance, you know, so balancing ourselves, balancing our relationship with the earth, as being sort of the, you know, the piece that I could help with, you know, as far as the human condition and the planet here. You know? I really think that by working in those ways, you know, some of these problems that we're having are just going to naturally melt away, you know, as we're having a much more intimate connection, you know, with ourselves, working more from the heart and working with our, you know, being in alignment, working with the natural world, you know, things like, you know, pipelines and pollutions and styrofoam and things like that, they're just naturally going to fall away. You know, they're not going to be an option anymore, because we have such a personal respect happening, and we have such a heart-centered way of relating that
yeah, I know for me, as you know, when I'm doing consumer stuff, I'm looking at, I mean, I've been like that for a long time, about 20 years, but I caught myself like fairly recently going into the store and seeing all these cheap clothes, and then I ended up shortly after that watching this documentary about textiles and the pollution and the suicides of cotton farmers, and oh my gosh, it just gives me the chills, like something like 250,000 suicides or something. And I sat here this one afternoon, because it's like I do a lot of work at nighttime too, so sometimes my break is during the day, and I sat here in the afternoon and watched it and bawled my eyes out. And I thought, like, how can this be happening right now? I feel so grateful for the life that I have. And so I'm like you, I want to give. And I feel like by us doing our own work, then we can give more and share these amazing tools. And like you said, create our own medicine wheel and make it our own. And, you know, I have a lot of tools as a practitioner, and I'm I'm thrilled that and inspired that I'm going to have 12 months of all of these amazing experiences that I'm going to embody, that I will bring into the practice and be able to put it out through my own practice.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think it's very rounding. It's very grounding. It makes perfect sense, you know. And I was on this, like I said, I had this awakening around the year 2000. That's when I had this opening up here. And I was so up here that I could not function down here. Like I couldn't function on the planet. So I remember I had to sell my truck. I had to sell my bed. My boyfriend broke up with me. I lost my job. And I was like, yes, but I am totally spiritual and connected. And then I realized that, yes, I had sort of this, like, I was literally like, it was like, I felt like I dropped to the planet. And now I realize that's what shamanism is. It's to allow me to move that big energy through, and it's very grounding. And I'm like, I'm living here on this planet. It makes perfect sense to honor everything that, you know, I receive from the earth, all the nourishment and all the gifts. And I went through really bad anxiety, right? Panic attacks in around 2006. And when I go out and I'm grounded, or even right before the show, you know, this is new for Juliette. She went and she did her prayer. And I was like, oh, we get to learn that prayer because that's really beautiful.
You have your own prayer.
Oh,
yeah. It's just as beautiful. And
so that's your own personal prayer that you, as for you. And that's, well, thank you for allowing me to witness that and be in it. And I thought to myself, you know, I do meditation and the hypnosis, and I love to combine it all with this kind of stuff too. And I was like, yes, this is what I want to be able to facilitate to my, you know, in my workshops and with my groups. And
well, and I think too, like, you know, you're coming from a pretty empowered place too. Like you have a lot of tools already, and a lot of people are feeling really quite powerless. Like, so they watch a documentary like you did and they feel overwhelmed and powerless. And yet these very simple ways of working, you know, they're actually really quite powerful. And even though we might not be supported in our culture to have no footprint, you know, it's really hard. No matter how dedicated you are. But yet, you know, we have these really powerful ways of working and bringing health to ourselves and to the planet, you know, like even just like the rice experiment is my favorite reference, you know, because it's right in front of you, and that's just purely working with the power of your love.
Yes. So tell them about the rice experiment, because I love it. I'm always like, when's the next one coming? I want to see what's happening with the rice.
Oh man, well, I still have it. It's been over a year, and it's in the blog too. You can find it, or but it's basically you know, and people do this, and I saw it on the internet, and I wanted to believe it, but I didn't really believe it because I hadn't experienced it. Right? Like, what are they doing? So you cook rice and put it into 2 jars, and you know, you can label one. Some people will hate it or be angry or whatever, and they'll write something like that. I just wrote ignore because I didn't really want to feel hate and anger every day.
Yeah, exactly.
You know? And I put that jar up at the top of my cupboard at the back, so I just didn't think about it.
Oh, wow.
And then the other jar I wrote love, and I would pick it up and I would love it. I hold it to my heart. I would love this rice. It's silly because I found that I would be thinking about it. I'd be driving along and be like, oh, my rice.
Well, that's also something they've proven, that when you're thinking about your plants at home, they grow better.
It's true. It's true.
Your pets.
It's true. Yeah. And I mean, sure enough, it took a few months to really see the difference, but that ignore rice is quite disgusting. Yeah. And the love rice stayed white and fluffy.
Are you gonna like eventually go back to loving the other rice?
I think it's beyond. It's really beyond. It's like I'm now.
That'd be a good experiment.
But it is, you know, and actually that's even part of it as well, part of the program as well, to really, because until you do it, you know, it's sort of in your mind, but it's not in your body and in your heart.
Yeah, that's what I realized. And anyone watching, and like, you don't have to be coming into this as a practitioner. You can come into this as, you know, maybe, you know, you've never experienced anything, right? Exactly. Yeah. So you can learn your way through it. Mm-hmm. And I think that's another thing too, that people think like you have to somehow be in the know. I mean, I remember even long time ago. I mean, my first job was at the Indian Friendship Society in Kamloops. I mean, that's what, you were allowed to say Indian, I guess. I don't know. And I guess it would be called, I think it's just the Friendship Society now. And I was 17. And then I wanted to go to the powwows, and it was like, all and it was very like, it was all secretive. And what I'm gathering is that now, like the Hopi Indians and everything, they're saying, it's time to share, it's time to come out and talk about our tradition. And I get it. It needed to be preserved through this crazy time that we're alive on this planet where things just got like Monsanto, like, and it's nutball. And now we're able to gather these tools, and everyone, it's not so esoteric, I guess. And but you can just bring your own juice to the jug.
I like that.
I know, I just came up with that. So we have to wrap it up here. Tell us, I know that you wanted to share some things, and we can put them up on my website. We can also send them to your wife's website. You wanted to share like a download or anything?
Yeah, that was the one is, if people send me a message, either an email, or through the form on the site, and they let me know that they listened today, that they can receive the audio from our Journey Circle this Saturday, just free.
Okay.
And you know what, and maybe even too, because it's going to be, available for replay. Like if this is, a year from now or whatever, and someone's listening to it for the first time, just send me a message and tell me that you listen to this show. And you can either attend or receive the audio for that next coming month.
Complimentary. So your Journey Circle here in Squamish, BC. So, all right. So if it's like in a year from now, you're listening to this, they can come to your next Journey Circle, which they can find out about on which website?
The threefoldbalance.com, has links. I have a group on Facebook where I post all the events. And
okay.
Like that.
All right. Can anybody get into that? Or is that through?
Yeah, it's got some kind of crazy name though. It's like online or medicine gatherings and online support hosted by Threefold Balance.
Okay, so if they look up Threefold Balance, is it all one word? Or is it three, the letter, the number?
The number 3. Fold Balance, yeah.
And it's 3, the number, foldbalance.com. So message you through that website and ask for the audio download from the next one coming up, or the recent one?
No, for whatever is coming next.
The Journey Circle?
Yeah, so this one, I mean, obviously, if you message me today, it would be this Saturday.
Oh, I see. Okay.
And if it's, 6 months from now and you're like, hey, I just listened to it, then, it's the second weekend of each month. So
okay. Perfect.
Just be the next one.
Yeah, and I know you post all of your events for that kind of stuff there. And then the shamanicliving.ca is your coming up program.
So there's only 2 days left to register.
Yeah, it's happening right away.
And there's only 2 spots left for the in-person. Of course, online there's plenty of room.
Okay.
But if there was a huge amount of applications coming in, I would consider just renting a bigger space as well. So don't let the thought that there's only 2 spots sway you if you want to join us. Okay, great. Well, thank you so much, Juliette. We did good. And I actually was a little bit nervous because it's always been online, and I've never had anyone sit right beside me. Oh, so this is better. I know. And mostly I interview people from that don't live locally. So fair enough. Thank you for joining us. This is the Conscious Goddess Hour with Tamara Broughton, and my guest today was Juliette Woods from threefoldbalance.com and shamanicliving.ca. I would love if you joined us. It's starting in October, and it's going for 12 months. Yes. And it's a full-on commitment. So if you've been thinking about wanting to learn about shamanism, if you've been seeing your friends do it like me and being like, I want those tools, and not just because look at me. I mean, I don't think I'll call myself a shaman. I don't know. No, this would be more just personal practice. Yeah. So I say shamanist is what I say. Yeah. Yeah. And shaman, whatever. And thank you to Rachel, our producer at New Earth Broadcasting. We love you. And tune in next week. I'm going to be having Chintya Devi from goddessrising.org, and she's going to be talking all about priestess
goodness and all this lovely deliciousness. I've been learning a lot about the goddesses through her. So, and join us next week at 11 or watch the replay at theconsciousgoddess.com. See you. Oh, you're welcome, honey.
You're watching the Goddess Conscious Hour. Sorry, the Conscious Goddess Hour here on New Earth and Ash.
Yeah, I know. I was